that.
Yeah, next one after that. That card, my days.
Yeah.
Right fucking dodgy skit.
Yeah.
So occurrence. So how does a bar guest come to be? Where do you find them? Bar guests are ghosts which come from the underworld only when summoned. Only when summoned. So for a bar guest to appear, someone or something has to like encourage it to actually come here. So someone has summoned the beast. So immunity. Bar guests are fearless and cannot be poisoned. Coming from the underworld, they acquire bodies, so they can be stunned and experience pain, although they are somewhat resistant to these effects. So that's where you get the whole kind of dog being killed and then a bar guest randomly appearing. The bar guest is taking over that dog's body in order to roam the world. So as a result of that, they can experience pain because they're corporeal now. Susceptibility. Bar guests are sensitive to silver and very susceptible to knockdown attempts. The fast style is most efficient against bar guests. The experienced witches used a group style while fighting multiple bar guests. So we've just been putting those pieces of advice to practice. Fighting the bar guests with fast style when there's not many of them, group style when there's a lot. Tactics. They try to surround their opponent and work as a group. Where one bar guest appears, more will follow. Yeah, definitely. Alchemy, beast fangs, ectoplasm, and death dust.
Looks so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So, because it's been noted as a ghost, and here it says they are spectres, a certain oil that we made just a while ago, spectre oil, would give us more damage to these monsters. So, spectre oil is super handy against anything, kind of like ghosty, you know?
Yeah.
People say that bar guests are spectres which materialize as ghastly dogs and persecute the living.
Gassy dogs?
Ghastly, yeah.
I heard gassy dogs.
Gassy dogs, no, ghastly as in, you know.
Yeah. Well, I thought
Gassy
you said
dogs.
gassy
Like,
dogs. Like,
they look fucking gassy, look at them, man. No.
the wig.
Yeah, materializes ghastly dogs and persecute the living. According to some folk tales, these monsters are the scouts of the wild hunt. Other legends say the ghosts appear as a sign of divine retribution and embody revenge. However, all tales agree on one point: bar guests show the living no mercy. So some say that the wild hunt, these are scouts for wild hunt. Some say that they are kind of harbingers of revenge, so they are there because of wrongdoings, basically. The Bloodsauger!
That's a Dutch name, Bloodsauger.
The Bloodsauger!
Bloodsauger.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a Dutch monster name, that.
Yeah, so occurrence. So where can we find these monsters? Swamps and marshes. Their immunity, they're immune to poison, and they have a low resistance to stun attempts. So trying to fucking knock these dudes out, trying to poison them, don't even think about it. Susceptibility. They are sensitive to silver, as is any other monster, and fire. The strong style is most efficient against bloodsaugers. Experienced witches warn against using a group style while fighting multiple bloodsaugers. They warn against it. Now we're gonna see why. These dudes are like fucking bombs. Once they die, they blow up. And when you're near that blast radius,
Horrible.
oh my days.
Horrible.
It like halves your fucking HP. And it stacks. So when you kill multiple ones at the same time, boom, 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 boom. It's like a fucking minefield.
Yeah, and I also believe it poisons you.
Yeah,
So it keeps going as
most
well.
noticeably is that sudden decrease in vitality. Yeah. So yeah, when you take out these guys, be careful. Like do a flip, do some shit, or maybe get them down to low health, then ignite them from afar because they're weak against fire, and then just run away. So tactics: a dying bloodsauger explodes, spraying acid on its opponents. A skilled witcher is able to kill the monster while evading the explosion. Alchemy, abomination lymph, Alba's crystals, and Bloodsauger blood. The Bloodsauger
blood.
The Bloodsauger blood. The Bloodsauger. A grotesque monster from the swamps causes terror among peasants because it pours digestive juices over the wounds of those who are still alive and then dines on their half-digested intestines.
Ugh.
Lovely.
Ugh.
So, next is Drowned Dead because it's going in alphabetical order, but first of all I want to go into Drowner first. Drowners, the occurrence. So drowners are creatures of the night. They appear on the banks of ponds, lakes, and rivers. So we only find drowners at night by that lakeside. So very true to the description there. Immunity, immune to bleeding, blinding, and poisoning attempts. They are fearless, immune to stun attempts, and the Axie sign.
Ooh.
So these dudes have got a lot of immunity to them. Susceptibility, very sensitive to silver and susceptible to knockdown attempts. The fast style is most effective against drowners. Experienced witches use the group style against multiple drowners. You notice right now a lot of these entries into this like diary of monsters is all about use the silver sword. We don't have a silver sword right now. We only have a steel sword. So right now we're kind of using a very ineffective weapon against them, but we're getting the job done.
Yeah.
Tactics. Usually attack in large groups and take advantage of numerical superiority, very much like bar guests. Alchemy, Drowner Brain Tissue, Gnat's Acid, and Cadaverine. Cadaverine. Drowners are scoundrels who ended their wicked lives in the water, drowned alive, or thrown into deep water after death. They turn into vengeful creatures which stalk the inhabitants of coastal settlements. So drowners are no-gooders. You know, people who end up dying, and their bodies just slung in the water, or they end up being drowned by people who they've probably stolen from, or something like that. That's when drowners come about. But the drowned dead. So this is like a, if you think of like the drowner as a Bulbasaur, this is an Ivysaur, basically. So occurrence, the drowned dead are creatures of the night. They appear on the banks of ponds, lakes, and rivers, so just like drowners. Immunity, also to bleeding, blinding, poison attempts. They are fearless, immune to stun attempts, and the Axii sign, so they are exactly the same right now. Again, sensitive to silver and susceptible to knockdown attempts. The fast style is most efficient against the drowned dead. Experienced witches use the group style. These creatures poison their victims with Cadaverine. They often attack as a group, so you can also get that as an alchemy ingredient. And audio. Oh, also drowned dead's tongue, so that's the different alchemical ingredient you get from them. Particularly strong and dangerous drowners are known as the drowned dead. Simple people see no difference between the drowner and the drowned dead. Encountering either of them is equally deadly. We might suppose, though, that the most gloomy legends concern the drowned dead rather than drowners. So, think of it like this. The more infamous you are, like the more of a baddie you were in your life, the more likely you're going to become a drowned dead rather than a drowner if your life ends or somehow is related to water upon its end. The Frightener.
Yeah, Frightener.
Frighteners are very rare. There's only one in the game. They come into being as a result of magical experiments. To create a Frightener, a mage has to possess great power and a basic knowledge of mutation. Frighteners are immune to almost all effects. Sensitive to silver, to steel and silver. Very sensitive to loud noises at high frequencies. In combat, Frighteners rely on their size and strength. They try to knock their opponents down and then deal a lethal blow. An alchemy, Frightener's Iron Claw, which we took and then used for ourselves in Triss. The first mage to create a Frightener was the infamous renegade Dagobert Sula, a diligent student of the Zeracanian Masters of Alchemy and the supervisor of the Trial of the Grasses carried out at Kaer Morhen. Upon beholding the abomination he had created, Sula is said to have cried, "What have I done?" He destroyed the monster. His notes, however, survived. So others then took those notes and created the Frightener. The ghoul!
Yeah,
Little Willy.
I like that image.
Ghouls are encountered on battlefields, as well as cemeteries and abandoned crypts. So cemeteries, abandoned crypts, because there's corpses there, and also battlefields. Battlefields leave a lot of dead bodies behind,
Good
so it's basically
question.
a buffet for ghouls.
I don't know if you know it by any chance, because
What?
someone just asked, why does the Frightener have a different symbol in front of it?
Because it's a unique, rare boss monster.
Alright.
So these are monsters that you can come
Commonly.
across. Yeah, so Frighteners are kind of like boss monsters. You're going to come across boss monsters in the game. So even though we fought Ozzy Osbourne, which is like a Gravier or something. No, he was like an owl ghoul, not a ghoul. Gravier. Graviers are huge.
Yeah.
And we encountered, what was the other one? Nadir, the Drowned Dead. You notice here, it's a Drowned Dead. Even though it's unique to this part of the game, Drowned Dead, you're going to see them a lot more. Yeah. So it was more. Right now, it's more of like an introduction as to how trophy hunting is going to become a thing in The Witcher. But yeah, the Frightener is like a unique, rare monster that we're only going to fight once, you know? And we're going to come across monsters like that in the game that also have that kind of rarity and superiority in terms of, you know, difficulty and strength. So yeah, ghouls, battlefields, cemeteries, and abandoned crypts is where you're likely going to find these bad boys. They are resistant to common poisons because, you know, they're constantly eating like decaying flesh and stuff. They build an immunity to that kind of shit. Sensitive to silver and necrophage oil, which is what we used against them in the crypts. The strong style is most efficient against ghouls, experienced witches who use the group style. A group of ghouls will try to knock an opponent down, surround him, and start eating him alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we saw that with Ozzy Osbourne. He didn't need a group. He just slapped his silly and started
I've
chowing
actually
down.
experienced that where a group of ghouls pulled that shit on me.
Did
And
they-
I died.
Did they pounce at the same time, all of them?
No, not at the same time, but
They just take turns.
Yeah, it's just being common.
Alright, Dave, I had my fill, your turn. Oh, thanks, Dave. Alright, Abomination Lymph, White Vinegar, and Ghoul Blood. Ghouls are said to have been humans who were once forced into cannibalism, and after many years spent in dark crypts, because of their cannibalism, underwent a horrifying transformation. Only human flesh can satisfy their eternal hunger, so they kill people and store the remains in the recesses of their lairs. So, ghouls. Very ghoulish.
Forced into cannibalism as well.
Forced into cannibalism, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
So, Gravers appear wherever they can find food, preferably human corpses, but any carcass will do, so they're not as picky. Immune to common poisons and resistant to knockdown attempts as a result of their huge size. You can see here, looking at them, the Graver is like a much more bulkier dude, and as a result, the bigger the monster, the harder it is to knock him down. Tough skin and thick muscles protect them from blows. Sensitive to silver and necrophage oil, the strong style is most effective against Gravers. So they're a ghoul at the end of the day, so the necrophage oil is still going to be handy against them. So yeah, White Vinegar, Graver Bone, and Cadaverine. After the war with Nilfgaard, Gravers became a real plague. Until then, the monsters were familiar only to specialists and professional beast killers, thus everyone mistook them for ghouls. Today, any child could give an accurate description of a Graver, and people who have passed near battlefields or necropolises offer first-hand accounts of the horrible murders committed by these ruthless necrophages. They're like the big baddies of ghouls. If you run into these dudes, if you run into these dudes, be on your guard because they will slap you silly. It's like fighting a load of Ozzy Osbournes, basically. Yeah. Wolf. Wolves hide in the wilderness. When they are hungry, they approach human settlements and hunt
like
farm
one.
animals. Yeah, it does. Actually looks like a chihuahua.
Yeah, it looks like a chihuahua.
They have no immunity, so they're very much like dogs. Susceptible to knockdown attempts, the fast style is most effective against wolves, and of course, use group of Desolado. Wolves attack in groups, using their numerical superiority to their advantage. Beast fangs and beast leather is what you can hope to carve off these dudes. There was so much snow that winter that we had to dig tunnels just to get to the privy, and had icicles in our pants by the time we got back. Wolves came out of the forest, ate the cattle, and then surrounded the house. They were howling madly. Surrounded by that pack of wolves, we felt like 3 little pigs. So yeah, that's all the monsters that we've learnt about right now. So you can either learn about monsters by someone telling you about them, or by reading about them. So this little like entry is going to become a lot more full.
I think it's a good idea to like keep up from it, like from
Yeah.
now on.
So if we learn
Like,
about a
if
monster,
we knew something new, we check up on it instantly.
so now, yeah, now you know like the lore and history of how drowners come to be, ghouls, bar guests even.
So interesting.
It is. I love it. I love
this
that little
mythology.
that little flavor text.
Yeah. Because it's like done very well.
Reverend, oh Reverend, Reverend.
Speak quickly.
Oh my Reverend, Reverend.
Oh my god! A lot of
days.
catching up to
I
do.
know, right?
I carried the eternal fire to all the chapels.
The beasts still haunt us.
I told
For
you. it
fuck's
would
sake!
work. Where's my payment?
That fish is going crazy in that
yes,
bowl.
your payment. The curse must be stronger than I thought. Doubtless caused by that witch, Abigail. An evil woman.
A witch. Maybe she can tell us more.
She brought the beast and all other calamities upon us.
Perhaps. But I'd rather speak with her first.
We must know from whence the beast came. Learn the truth.
I will. For 300 orens.
Our community's poor. Perhaps 200?
So be it.
Perhaps don't mean broke. Bang.
I felt so horrible for that.
Yeah, maybe some foreshadowing into Witcher 2. Man, that fish is going buck wild. Look at him go. Look at him go. Yeah, Witchy, Witchy.
Speak quickly.
So the Reverend was quick to blame the bar guests and the beast appearances on Abigail the witch. So he was so confident before that, you know, how dare you blasphemer? These temple shrines,
And
these lights.
Mikkel also was blaming, and then that guy laying in front of her tent.
So you've got to kind of stop and go, is there truth to these stories? Or is this the common understanding of peasant mentality? You know, like, oh, witchcraft and stuff, burn the bitch, you know. Is it a witch hunt, or is there some truth to their story?
Odo's and Heron's monsters are gone. For Mikkel, I cleared the crypt of ghouls.
I must admit I'm impressed.